Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you are, however you might be watching slash listening. Thank you for making this part of the day. I'm Justin,
I'm Alexander.
and we're the hockey podcast you're about to hear. And Alexander, did you know that the difference between Iron Man and Aluminum Man is that Iron Man stops the bad guys, while Aluminum Man can just foil their plans? I know that one's super fresh,
Please,
huh?
please tell
Huh?
me there's nothing more after that. Please tell me there's nothing more after this.
I mean, I have some more, but I can save it for later.
Uh,
On that note, I'll crumble it up and throw it out the window, and let's talk some hockey, shall we?
oh gosh. All right. Yes, please. Um, because here we are sitting in early to mid August, and what is there to talk about with hockey? Not much. So we're going to look back at the past. And by the past, I mean we're going to go back to 1973 and discuss the Eastern
Shoo.
Conference final between the Philadelphia Flyers and the eventual cup winning New York Islanders. And to really kind of round out the storyline regarding that, anyway, let's discuss the Stanley Cup final that we saw at this point 2 months ago,
I was like,
back
you
in
went
this
too far
time
back in the
around.
past. Too far back. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was only 2 months ago. Somehow it seems longer, but here we
yeah.
are.
And it's feel like it's been a long time since we saw any hockey, and so
It sure has been.
yeah, we will do our best for you, dear listeners, to get our heads back into the hockey mindset and remember what happened back in the Stanley Cup final. If memory serves, it was Edmonton playing Florida the second year in a row. This time, Edmonton had home ice advantage, if you consider that an
Mhm.
advantage. And major storylines going into it. Obviously, McDavid, Draisaitl looking to be the two-man show to win the Stanley Cup. Goaltending's always kind of suspect. They had just lost Zach Hyman the previous
Right.
round, and they're
Hmm.
like, how much are they going to miss him? Are they going to be able to Florida without him? They should still be good enough to do it. Florida was basically still just kind of rolling through everybody they played, but they hadn't played a team like Edmonton yet.
Yeah.
So, as these things collide and clash, depth versus superstars, what are we going to run into? And Justin, in as few words as you want, tell us what happened.
Well, depending on the night, we either saw a real tough nail biter that went to overtime, or the buzzsaw running through butter. There wasn't really much in between, if I remember correctly. What did
This,
you see?
this. I saw a Edmonton team take game one and be in a position to say this is different than last year,
Hmm.
and then basically repeat last year
Yeah.
to where if you lose a close game, you're going to lose the series. And they lost
Hmm.
game two in overtime, and
Was
from
it
that point on, the
double
series never felt
overtime?
close.
Or which one is double
Um,
overtime?
that I don't remember. That feels like a lot of the fact that I remember it went to overtime. I feel I'm doing good.
Yes. Double overtime. Same here. Because I remember, the reason I remember that is I was going to text you that night or the next morning, and I completely forgot that I was going to boldly predict that the winner of game two double overtime was going to win the series. And I got a little nervous there
Mhm.
for a minute. And then, okay. Whew.
It was a critical game
It
in the
sure
series,
was.
as even numbered games often are, just because you're going to get a lopsided series coming out of that. Um, or not lopsided. You could get anyway. Odd number
Yeah.
games, you know you're going to get a lopsided series. Even number games, you're either going to be even or down two games,
Hmm.
more or less, right?
Hmm.
So, but all that to say, every game in the Stanley Cup final is important,
Nice.
and when you only had six of them, that
Uh-huh.
one seemed the most important.
Yeah,
It really did.
I would
Yes,
agree.
they could have, you know, won in Edmonton, come back to Florida, won there, and forced to Game Seven, but it didn't ever really feel like that. Just another one
No.
of those. This team is not going to beat the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers are not going to beat themselves,
Right.
and sure enough, that's what happened. does it help when the Florida Panthers had Brad Marchand playing their third line role and absolutely dominating the ice when his
Oh
line was
my
out
word.
there?
That was insane. Yeah.
Yes, because Edmonton could not answer with anything of um, like a playoffs team's third line, like not a Stanley Cup winning third line, but like just a team that's like a bubble team's playoff um,
Mm-hmm.
third line. Like I feel like you took the third line for Edmonton and paired it up against the third line for I don't know Montreal. Um, you're like, well, which one would you have rather had in the finals? Like, well, oh. So just just all to, and I don't know that Zach Hyman wins you two more games in
Mm-hmm.
the final,
Mm-hmm.
but he definitely makes things closer and maybe helps you win game two,
Right.
and that helps you win another game in the final. So maybe he gets you one more and gives you a shot at another one, changes the way the series plays out, whatever. So
Yeah.
I was I was kind of sad you didn't have the best teams kind of coming full tilt at each other because Florida was very, very healthy. And
Right.
a
Yeah.
healthy a healthy Florida is
A scary Florida.
darn near impossible to beat 4 out of 7 times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
For
gonna be
real.
very hard to take the majority of games playing them back to back to back to back to back to like, they're just they're really, really good. The best team that actually had a shot at putting these guys out was Toronto 2 rounds prior when
Wah,
Toronto's
wah, wah,
up 2-0
wah.
in Florida, goes into overtime, and Florida gets back in the series, gets back like, that whole turning of the tide, like, in a single game, single overtime, single moment changes the shifting of the tides so much that you're like, boy, that really was a critical point in the story arc of the playoffs. But no, that's how we concluded another sad McDavid, another sad Draisaitl. However, McDavid
Mm-hmm.
did not win the Conn Smythe this year, so we didn't have that whole awkward thing.
I'll say
That
I
was
don't
nice.
think. Yeah. I think he would have come out and smashed it.
Well,
Yeah.
Florida wins the cup back-to-back years on home ice,
Right.
so another trip around your own arena with your own fans. So, boy, if you're gonna do it, that's the way to do it.
Which I'm always a fan of the home team winning it. I just think it's cooler, much cooler to win it in front of your own fans and people like, yay, our team lost, but there's the Stanley Cup. But our team lost. Bay. Just the energy and
If you
excitement.
if you win it on the road, I feel what it does is your fans that made it to that game, that paid the money, flew in, or lived locally and made it there or whatnot, they get that moment like almost all to themselves because there's
Mm-hmm.
not a ton of other fans in the arena. It's like you put the time and effort to be in that spot, and it's like, hey, I got to be here for my team winning it on the road, and you can I can see where maybe that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And the team
Yeah.
is like, hey, there's our four fans that traveled across the country.
Woo!
Um,
Yeah.
but anyway, that's that's the Stanley Cup. Congrats to the 2025 Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
I personally feel like the best team won the Stanley Cup final, won the
Right.
Stanley Cup overall.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Dallas had made it, or Colorado had made it, or Vegas had made it, or if Los Angeles won in the first round and won in the same run that Edmonton did, if Winnipeg, I don't feel like there was any team in the West or any other team in the East that I thought was, boy, if they could have played Florida, I think they would have taken Florida out. I feel like
Right. It would have taken some
Florida's just
monumental injuries to take Florida out.
yes.
And even then.
No.
Mm,
For- Fortunately for the rest of the league, coming up in unrestricted free agency, Aaron Ekblad, Brad Marchand, Sam Bennett, guys that played huge critical roles for this team. They can't bring all these guys back, and so their team should be weaker after like free
right.
agency and those guys
Yeah,
all
because
find
that's
somewhere
what
else.
always happens to Stanley Cup winning teams is these guys like, hey, I can make more money somewhere else.
Yep,
Bye. Which never makes
yep.
sense to me, but I'm not in that position, so
So because there is technically a rookie draft between the Stanley Cup and free agency,
Mm.
we will cover that now. And with that recap, we will now
Uh-huh.
move to free
Brilliant.
agency.
Brilliant. Yay. I loved it. Yes, free
Probably our
agency.
probably our best segment of the show ever. I
Oh,
think we have
hands
jumped the
down.
shark officially as a podcast.
Ah, nailed it.
All right,
Oh yes.
so free. All right, no, the thing that I will say about the draft, this is the year that they did the draft remotely. Last year
Yeah.
they did it in the Sphere, and this year is a remote draft, and it's almost like ESPN was like, "We hate the remote draft. We are going to make this as awkward as possible to
Yeah.
try and get you back to everybody in the building because it was awful to watch."
Yeah.
Of the way they had the guys come up and take all their awkward pictures with the commissioner and then go stand in front of a huge, like, two-story screen and talk to the heads of the guys who just drafted them that really have no interest in talking to their new prospect they just drafted because they're still in the middle of a draft.
Right. Yeah.
And just this
Weird.
awkward, time delayed back and forth, host asking a terrible question of
The
what
generic.
made this guy so special for you that you wanted to draft him number 7 overall? Well, he's just a good hockey player. Okay. Like
Yeah.
it it wasn't great. There wasn't drama in the draft of trades or guys falling or it went kind of as you would predict and expect, and
Hmm.
so it wasn't very entertaining, wasn't very impactful
Right.
from my vantage point. Did you see anything different?
No, I usually never tune in for the draft, just because I'm not interested. I mean, I might have mentioned it before, but in case I haven't, you don't know how a draft's going to turn out for another 3 to 5 years, so I don't want to, invest a lot of time and energy. Oh, I can't believe they drafted this guy. Oh man, they whiffed on this guy. Oh man, I can do this. Oh, and 3 years from now, I was like,
Mhm,
oh man, why on earth did they take this guy? So he didn't pan out. Oh, that was a good pick. Yeah, he got a steal there, but you just don't know. So
mhm,
I have no. I mean, I don't follow college or any of the other juniors hockey, so I don't know any of the names anyway. So it's like, well, when they're on the ice for my team, then I'll take interest. Until then, eh. But I heard the same thing
fair
as you.
enough.
It's just awkward and poorly done, and just kind of an embarrassment.
Mhm. Okay, then
Yeah.
free agency.
Vroom.
Big stories going to free agency.
Mm-hmm.
Where are all the Florida guys going? Where's Mitch Marner going? Because we know he's not coming back to Toronto. What other big names are going to be like traded on that day? Change teams? Like how big are contracts going to sign? Connor McDavid is up. He can sign his extension starting July 1st for an 8-year extension that wouldn't kick in till even next
Right.
season.
Is
So
this the last season for the eight
what's going to
years,
happen?
or when does that kick in?
This is the last season to be able to sign an 8-year deal because the new
Okay.
that
Yeah.
that's the other exciting news this offseason is they signed a CBA deal that starts not this season but the following season. So they got it done a year ahead of time,
Mm-hmm.
and it's okay. Big whoop de doo.
Right.
Um, we'll talk probably more about the ramifications of that when that actually comes up to
Right.
being real.
Yep. No, I'm always
'Cause
excited though when
so far-
it gets done because that means no lockout. So that's the only thing I take away from it.
Yep, yep. So that's good.
Yeah.
But free agency. What happens in free agency leading up to it? Um, Mitch Marner does a sign and trade and goes to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Shocking, right? That,
Yeah.
Vegas would go and get the biggest name in free agency and somehow find a way to sign him and fit him into their cap, and that Marner just magically wanted to be traded there and go there without, yeah,
Yeah.
or maybe
Any tampering or anything unusual or
no
suspect
tampering.
happening. Yeah.
And certainly he didn't play with several guys like Pacioretty or Reeves that played in Vegas
Right.
and
Yeah. Mm.
tell him all about how good it was and how much, hey, the media doesn't crucify you in Vegas and whatnot.
Yeah.
So Marner goes to Vegas where he will probably have more success than he had in Toronto postseason wise.
Yeah. I would say
Um,
so. Yeah.
I don't know that I see Vegas like primed for another cup run, given the issues that the team has as far as health of a defenseman like Petrangelo maybe being done for a while. But
Right.
these are all things we these are all things we'll probably talk about in our season preview, which will be
Yeah.
in another month or two. So
Yep.
that's all well, good and dandy. Um, do you have any thoughts on Marner going to Vegas?
I mean, yeah, not really. I mean, just that it was pretty clear he wasn't going to come back to Toronto, so which is a shame
Hmm.
because I feel like the fans kind of drove him out, and I don't blame him. When you constantly hear that you stink and are terrible, then I'd be like leaving too.
Hmm. So one of the things I found is like usually when somebody goes somewhere in free agency, you find out after the fact like so this place and this place were kind of like close second and third.
Right.
We
Yeah.
thought about going, right? And that kind of like the markets there is like, oh, we were so close to signing Marner. Maybe if you could
Yeah.
go back in a time machine and like, oh, now we can play this out and be like, well, if we would have got Marner at that point, if we would have got Gretzky, if we would have got so and so or whatnot. I hadn't heard anything
Yeah.
of it was between Vegas and this or this or this. It was like it's Vegas, like,
Right.
and nobody's like super surprised or anything. It's like it's been maybe in the works for a while.
Yeah.
So big big whoop de
That's also
doodly do.
interesting too. Mm-hmm.
All right, but that still leaves us a trio of players in Florida that can't afford to sign back in Florida,
Right.
or
Right. What? They can.
um, so let me run down the name of the players. You tell me where they signed. Um, Brad Marchand came out of Boston last year, where he played his entire career. Spent this season obviously doing really well on a third line in Florida. Where did he resign?
Checks notes. Florida.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I mean, if you play for Boston now, you can go play for Florida and finish out your career playing for Cups. That makes sense.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. Yep.
Now, what about Aaron Ekblad? He's a defenseman. He was making, I think, like $6 million a season. He was
Mm-hmm.
probably due for at least that, maybe a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
where did he end up? Did he end up in Detroit? Maybe
Oh, no, just a bit outside on that one. Florida again. What?
for like less than he was making previously.
Yeah, the cap hit for him is
That's
just a little over 6 million a year for 8 years. Huh.
8 years. Oh, okay. Well then, signing Marchand, signing Ekblad. Bennett was always the guy that they knew was going to go somewhere. He
Mm-hmm.
was
They can only
potentially
get
rumored
two of the three.
Toronto,
Yeah.
Dallas. Two
Yeah.
of the three was going to be a home run for them. So,
Yeah.
which fortunate team ended up getting the? Did he end up winning the Conn Smythe Trophy?
He sure did. Yes. Yes, he did.
So you win the Conn Smythe Trophy, you win the Stanley Cup. You're a free agent, and you provided this amazing value to any team. Florida's got to be out of money at this point. Where did Sam Bennett sign?
Uh, Florida, and oddly enough, he was the first one signed on Friday, June 27th, and the other two signed on Monday, June 30th.
That
So
that that can't be right because
yeah,
Florida couldn't do that.
they can't afford all that. Huh.
Where did they find all that extra money?
I don't know. Maybe they're picking the pockets of the Lightning. Who knows? Or these
Uh,
players took a little bit less than they could have and stayed put to try and win another championship.
how do you convince three guys going into unrestricted free agency to take less money? How do you do that? All of them to take less money so they can stick around, and not for 1 or 2 more years, for half a decade or more on
Yeah,
some of these guys.
yeah. I mean, Brad Marchand's only won at 6, but he's 37. So
How the cap just went up? Like, did it go up just for Florida, or did it go up for everybody?
no, I think it would have for
How can
everybody.
you
So
keep getting away with this? Oh, and I get that some people say, look, it's tax-free state. Guys can make just as much by taking less and playing there. They get to go do, you know, they take a golf cart from the practice rink across the street to a golf course, and then up to a nice restaurant, and then down to the beach. Like it's this easy living kind of thing, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. But where was this for the past 30 years of Florida's history when they
uh-huh.
have been a joke of
Exactly.
a franchise?
Exactly.
Suddenly it's, hey, we found a way to start contending and winning cups, and now guys will take less to play here because you can win a cup here.
Uh-huh.
Interestingly, though, signing guys these long-term deals, they're going to have to do something to keep the locker room fresh,
Hmm.
so that you have guys that are hungry for their first cup, guys that have not
Right.
won it. You're
Oh,
trying to win it then as a locker room for the guy next to you,
yep.
because now Barkov's got two, and Bennett's got two, and Chucky's got two, and
Yeah.
this is second one from Marchant. And so, how do you go from,
Huh.
hey, we won a couple cups to we want to win five, six, seven cups? It's going to be hard to have that hunger in year 3 and 4
Mm-hmm.
if you keep winning. So you'll
Yeah.
see some turnover, but
Oh yeah, turn was bound to
my good.
happen. Well, we'll say real quick. I thought that was one cool thing about the Panthers. They gave the cup to all the players who hadn't won it yet to skate around the rink after the captain got it. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, like Nate Schmidt. I
Mm-hmm.
think he took it first. Yep,
Yeah, sounds right. I'm like, that's really cool. So
because he played for Vegas and they traded him away and then won the cup.
yeah,
Like, oh, okay.
finally, it didn't work out for Vegas. One of their moves. Oh wait, uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, no,
Um,
I just want to say that, and then there's something else I was going to say and I forgot. So hopefully I remember later.
okay. Was there any other things from free agency? Because I know my Red Wings didn't do much at all other than just kind of like filling in pieces. Just kind of had to fill in somebody here, there. Nothing that's exciting or whatnot. No particular buyouts of bad contracts or anything. There
Yeah,
wasn't hardly any buyouts this at all because everybody has more money. So there wasn't a lot of movement because when everybody's tight, there's a lot of movement because you're like, hey, we got to do something to fit this guy in. We need a trade here for this prospect or whatnot. And everybody got more money this year, and everybody's getting more money next year and get more money next year. I always say future trade deadlines and free agencies with the cap just jumping as much as it's going to,
mm-hmm.
they're going to be able to afford to keep their guys. And well, that's good for your team if you like your guys. It's not good for your team if you don't like your guys.
Very, very true. Very true. Yeah, no, I mean Calgary did the same thing. They lost a couple third, fourth line guys, lost the backup goalie, signed like a second, third line guy, and just kind of holding pat on some other stuff. Just wait and see how the dominoes fall, basically.
Okay.
But yeah, nothing too crazy, which actually, it's not a bad thing. They didn't overpay for anybody, so that's always a win, I think.
Okay. No, here's what happened. In the offseason for my Red Wings here, Steve Eiserman's buddy, the GM in Anaheim, worked deals where they traded for the ghost of John Gibson to come and play goaltender for us because that's going to take us from a bubble playoff team to a bubble playoff team.
Hey,
So
that's one
that's
bubble less. So
it is one bubble less, um, but we're not a playoff team. So, but we'll get into that in the season preview. But yeah, um, I'm trying to think of anything else that's really happened in the offseason. There has not been like major firings, major scandals,
mm-mm,
major injuries, major
mm-mm.
trades. The, and I'm saying major, like I'm trying to even think of maybe some minor things that are even like worth mentioning.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
not even
mean,
minor, maybe just I can think of a lot of minor things, but some
mm-hmm.
mid things that have happened. There hasn't been anything.
Yeah, which I mean, as a fan, I'm good with, but as a podcaster, it's like, no, team content, please, more for team content. But here we
Yeah. So okay, it is what it is. The league got kind of boring this off season.
are. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Hopefully, that means this upcoming season will be very exciting.
yep, and we'll talk all about that probably next month. Maybe October, probably
Yeah,
October.
end of September, early October is kind of what I would expect it, just depending on the schedules and all that, like usual.
Yep.
So cool, cool. Well, anything else then for tonight, or should we call it a wrap?
I'd say call it a wrap, folks. Sorry for the short episode, but the league just didn't do much.
Right, it's not our fault. So, well, on that note, we'll wrap that up and save it for later with some aluminum. And I'm Justin,
I'm Alexander.
and our hockey podcast about to hear, which just did. So, thanks for listening. I'll talk to you later.
I